Hey everyone, what I'm going to show you how to do today is I'm going to pot up a dwarf citrus tree. And treated myself to a couple of citrus trees. I ordered them from Four Winds Nursery. Here's a pamphlet from them that you get in the box. So I ordered online. They're in California. I'm in Massachusetts. And it took 2 days to get it. They ship it bare root, but it's in a bag of wood shavings. I think they said it was like cedar shavings. And they also recommend you take these shavings and mix them in with your soil mix. So let's see what we got here. So there's 2 in this box. Looking pretty healthy. Got some stuff falling off. But that's because I waited a little bit before I got to this point. You should be all set and ready to pot these up before you order. You should have all the supplies. But as you can see, nice green color, and these are true dwarfs, so they're not supposed to get any taller than 5 feet. Although I think any dwarf or any citrus trees, you can maintain them to whatever shape and size you want, and then they're going to be limited to the growing conditions. So if you have them in a pot, they're not going to be able to get too big anyways. So what I have here, there it says true dwarf, and this is a Trevita orange. And I also ordered a Owari Satsuma tangerine. I think that's how you pronounce it. There it is right here. So let's get potting this up. Now I get my supplies. If you read online, people have all types of ideas on the soil mixes, but one thing is very important, and that is good aeration in the soil. You don't want a mix that has a lot of peat in it that's going to stay really damp and boggy. Let's see what we got here. I get some pine bark nuggets to add to the soil. And this here is called chicken grit. And this is supposed to help aerate the soil. This is what you feed chickens to help in their digestive process. And I got this bag here from the Essex County Co-op. If you're familiar with Massachusetts, they're opposite the Topsfield Fair. Here is a biotone starter. This is supposed to add beneficial bacteria to the soil to help roots grow. Here is a superphosphate. I read online that they recommend a rock phosphate. I found this superphosphate. Again, it's supposed to improve your root growth. Another recommended additive, natural potash, green sand. And it actually does look like green sand. And garden lime. And I read online, this is a recommended soil mixture. It's a professional mix. It's called Farford and the 52 mix. Looks like it has a lot of organics in it. Perlite. But I'm going to lighten this up considerably by adding something that's very important to help in the aeration and help drainage. And that's Turfus MVP. And this is the stuff they put around athletic fields or the baseball diamonds to help them drain. Here's the back of the bag. And this is what it looks like. It almost looks like a kitty litter. we're going to mix that into the soil. So let's get started. First I'm going to add my soil. It's a Farford 52 professional mix. I got this up at Griffin Greenhouse Supplies. They're up in Tewksbury near Mahoney's Nursery, right next to Mahoney's Nursery up in Tewksbury. Let's get this in there. You can see there's a lot of organics in this professional mix. I'm going to add my garden lime and my green sand. Superphosphate. Garden lime. Let's mix this up. I'm going to add the turfus. Let's take a look here. You can see it doesn't hold together that well, but seems to be a well draining mixture. Even before I add this turfus, but I read online that for every citrus tree that's died from lack of water, 1,000 have died from too much water. And this typical first mistake people make is when they buy a citrus is they put it into one of those citrus or palm mixes or mixes you can pick up at your local Home Depot or Lowe's, and put it in a huge pot and just overwater it, and the roots are real susceptible to rotting. At that point they can't bring in nutrients and the leaves will fall off the tree. It's a good indication that you've overwatered, and the plant will die unless you change the mix and keep it in a drier mix and prevent overwatering. Well, you can see it looks just like kitty litter. If you read online, you see people have their own opinions on proper proportions of different mixes and different philosophies on what to mix, but you know, learn by making your own mistakes. And at least starting off with some knowledge. So hopefully I'll get something close to a good draining soil and have some success. The one good thing about having stuff in pots, especially here in New England, is you can bring them inside. And you can move them around. And you're not limited to just growing, bring them into a sunny window when the temperatures get cold in the fall. And again, don't overwater. You want to try to keep the soil temperature around 70, so you might want to use a heat mat. But you don't want it near a radiator. And it's not going to evaporate moisture as quickly as it would during the summer. So again, you don't want to make sure you don't overwater during the wintertime. So let's mix this up. And if the citrus tree starts telling you something's wrong, there's no reason why you can't quickly unpot it, change your formula, change your mix, and try something different. Don't follow it to the bitter end and end up with a dead citrus tree. There's no reason you can't change. Still going to add pine bark to this. I like to buy the pine bark nuggets. There's also some orchid mix with just the bark in it. But some of the stuff, like I think it's called Phalaenopsis mix, it looks like it has chunks of dried peat in it. And that's going to absorb water. And I don't think you want that. Again, this is just an experiment. Now, depending on where you are in the country, you might want a mixture that holds more water because it dries out quicker. We just had a week of rain here in Massachusetts, so good to have a nice draining mix. I know some people have even talked about growing in 100% turfus, where they just use this as a means for the roots to anchor the plant, and then you just add your nutrients. And anyone that's been in Florida sees that not too much organics in the sandy soil. It's all on the first top layer. And water drains out real quickly. It was recommended, these are the citrus trees from Four Wind Growers are 2 to 3 year old plants, and they recommend a 5-gallon pot. It's about 16 inches in diameter. I picked up some so-called trade pots, which are it's a 5-gallon squat. It's not a tall pot to put these 2 citrus trees in.